Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Zion Oil and Gas, ticker symbol ZNOG. We're going to discuss their prospectus that was filed sometime in late December of 2021. So before we do that, we're going to talk about what the heck a prospectus is. So a prospectus is basically a form requirement by the SEC for any publicly traded company. Anytime they're planning on doing some type of offering, they're going to release documentation that's going to tell you about the company more in depth to kind of help weigh your decision on, do I want to invest in this company or not? Kind of help understand the risk involved in investing in that company. So to find these guys, and you can do this for any publicly traded company, just keep that in mind, sec.gov, and you go to this website and you hover over filings and you go to company filing search. Go over to the ticker symbol, type in ZNOG, and there's Zion Oil and Gas, and you'll click there. So for one, if you want to find insider transactions, you want to see if there's any type of buying and selling going on within the company, you would go to ownership disclosure, and you'll see the insider transactions, and it'll tell you the most recent insider transactions, which we haven't had anything since November the 4th, and I'm pretty sure we've already covered that, so I'm not going to go over that again. But you can click on view insider, all of insider transactions, and there's a video that I made that goes kind of in depth on how to read some of these things as far as insider transactions. It should be popping up in the right hand corner of your screen here if you want to maybe take a look at that either now or after this video. So we'll come over here. It says latest filings is December 16th, 2021, which is the prospectus, and we'll click on that, and it'll come up and it'll kind of give you some information about Zion Oil and Gas. Okay, and it talks about to this date we haven't paid dividends on shares, yada yada yada. Investing in securities offered by this prospectus is risky. Read this prospectus carefully before you invest. You should consider the risk factors section beginning on S27 before deciding to invest. And it says neither the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission nor the State Securities Commission has approved or disapproved of the securities or determined in this prospectus is truthful or complete. Any representation to the contrary is a criminal offense. So we're not going to go through the whole thing because this thing is extremely lengthy. I want to just kind of go through just some information that I found that they're talking about the current state of the company, and they talk a little bit about MJ1, which I want to go back and shed some light on MJ1 because I came into this party late, right? I wasn't around during the MJ1 days, so some of the other people can talk more about what happened in that time. But we're just going to kind of go off of what this tells us here. Okay, so we'll come down here. It says prospectus plan summary. It talks about the summary, blah 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 blah, and then we come down here. It says Zion Oil and Gas. It says Zion Oil and Gas Inc., a Delaware corporation, is an oil and gas exploration company with a history of 19 years of oil and gas exploration in Israel. We were incorporated in Florida on April 6, 2000, and reincorporated in Delaware on July 9th, 2003. We completed our initial public offering in January of 2007. Our common stock was par value of 1 cent per share. Currently trades on the OTCQX under ZNOG, and then the common stock warrant on ZNOGW. The company currently holds one active petroleum exploration license onshore in Israel, the new MJ license 428, comprising approximately 99,000 acres. This was awarded in December 3rd, 2020 for a 6-month term with the possibility of an additional 6-month extension. On April 29th, 2021, Zion submitted a request to the Ministry of Energy for a 6-month extension to December 2nd, 2021. On May 30th, 2021, the ministry approved the request for the extension to December 2nd. If you remember, that was a big deal. Everyone was freaking out because you were like, oh my God, it's going down. They're taking the well down. It's over. And then on November 29th, the Ministry of Energy granted Zion an extension that goes until August the 1st of 2022. Okay. So for the purpose of completing the activities regarding its MJ2 drilling and testing, This lies onshore, south of the Sea of Galilee, and we continue to explore. Our focus here is it appears to possess key geological ingredients of an active petroleum system with significant exploration potential. And it goes down to says the MJ1 exploratory well was spud on June 5th, 2017 at a total depth of roughly 5,000 meters, approximately 16,600 feet. Thereafter, the company successfully cased and submitted the well while awaiting approval of the testing protocol. The Ministry of Energy approved the well testing protocol on April 29th, 2018. During the fourth quarter of 2018, the company testing protocol was concluded that the MJ1 well The test results confirmed that it did not contain hydrocarbons in commercial quantities in the zones tested. As a result, in the year end of December 31st of 2018, the company recorded a non-cash impairment charge to its unproved oil and gas properties of $30,906,000 during the 6 months ended June 30th, 2021 and 2020, respectively. The company did not record any post-impairment charges. While the well was not commercially viable, Zion learned a great deal from the drilling and testing of this oil. We believe that drilling and testing of this well carried out the testing objectives, which would support further evaluation and further exploration efforts within our licensed area. Zion believed it was prudent and consistent with good industry practice to try to answer some of these questions with a focused 3D seismic imaging shoot of approximately 7,200 square kilometers surrounding the MJ1 well. Zion completed all of the acquisition, processing, and interpretation of the 3D data and incorporated its expanded knowledge base into drilling and our current MJ2 exploratory well. At present, we have no revenues or operating income. We know this, okay? The only income that they have is basically us giving them money, investing every month is basically all they got, right? Our ability to generate future revenues and operating cash flow will be dependent on the successful exploration of our current and any future petroleum rights of the acquisition of oil or gas producing properties and the volume and timing in such production. In addition, even if we are successful in producing oil and gas in commercial quantities, our results will depend upon commodity prices for oil and gas, as well as operating expenses, including taxes and royalties. And then it says our executive offices are located, and you can see the address there, the phone number. You can call them and talk to them. However, they're not going to give you much information, right? I've called and talked to them. They give you about as much information as they do online, right? They don't want to give away too much info just because they've been sued and all that type of stuff before. Okay, so there we go. So that gives us kind of some background on on the MJ1 well, and it even goes into further. We'll talk more about this here. Is they want to go over some key things that are still not answered as of today, as far as from the MJ1 leading into the MJ2. So I think it's important that we know that as well. So it says while not meant to be an exhaustive list, a summary of what Zion believes to be key information learned in MJ1 is as followed. The MJ1 encountered much higher subsurface temperatures at a depth shallower than expected before drilling the well. In our opinion, this is significant because reaching a minimum temperature threshold is necessary for the generation of hydrocarbons from an organic rich source rock. The known organic rich, potentially hydrocarbon bearing age source rocks that are typically presented in the part of Israel were not encountered as expected. Zion expected these source rocks to be encountered at approximately 1,000 meters in the MJ1 well. It says MJ1 has natural fractures, permeability, the ability of fluid to move through the rock, or pore space in a rock that allowed the sustained flow of formation fluid in the shallower Jurassic and lower Cretaceous age formations between approximately 1,200 and 1,800 meters. While no hydrocarbons were encountered, Zion believed that This fact is nonetheless significant because it provides important information about possible reservoir pressures and the ability of fluids to move within the formation and to the surface. MJ1 encountered oil in the Triassic Mohilla Formation, which Zion believes suggested an active deep petroleum system in the Zion license area. There was no natural um, forms to allow formation fluid to reach the surface naturally during testing, and thus MJ1 was not producible or commercial. Okay, which is why they're going to go. They decided to go deeper around that same area. The depths and thickness of formations were encountered varied greatly from the pre-drilled estimates. This required MJ1 to be drilled to a much greater depth than previously expected. Zion has tied these revised formation depths to seismic data, which will allow for more accurate interpretations and mapping into the future. So then goes into a summary of what Zion believes to be some key questions left to be answered. Okay, and I think that's kind of a big deal. Is what they want to, some things that they still don't know. Okay, as of today, and it says, is the missing shallow Senonian age rock as a result of regional erosion, or is it missing because of a fault that cut the well bore and could reasonably expect it to be encountered in the vicinity of MJ1 drill site? Zion believes this is an important question to be answered because of the Senonian rock sources do exist in the area. The high temperatures encountered are sufficient to mature these rocks and generate oil. Do the usually high shallow subsurface temperatures extended regionally beyond MJ1 well, which could allow the generation of hydrocarbons in the Senonian age rock source within our licensed area? As a consequence of seismic remapping, where does the MJ1 well lie relative to the potential traps in these levels? And was the well located too low on the structures and deeper than the potential hydrocarbons than those traps? As a result of these unanswered questions within the formation gained in drilling MJ1, Zion believed it was prudent and consistent with good industry practice to try to answer some of these questions with a focused 3D seismic imaging shoot of approximately 72 square kilometers surrounding the MJ1 well. Zion has completed all of that acquisition, processing, and interpretation, and incorporated its expanded knowledge base into drilling of our current MJ2 exploratory well. The geological team is continuing to work on a larger interpretation of 3D areas, along with potential exploration locations located in the western portion of our licensed area. So, okay, so they drilled, they had a lot of questions and concerns about the MJ1, didn't get what they were drilling for, and then they did that 3D seismic, test, right? And it was then that they decided to, continue to drill around that that same area. So they must have seen something that was highly encouraging. I'm not sure exactly why they haven't released any type of data regarding that. Okay, I have no idea why they haven't. I know in the originally in the meeting, the annual shareholder meeting, they said that this was a piece of proprietary information that they don't necessarily have to release, but you would think that they would release some type of encouraging information, some type of encouraging news, which is kind of weird for me that they didn't release it. On the flip side, I know that they've been a part of a lot of different lawsuits, so it's kind of understandable of why they wouldn't release anything and mislead people, if this well comes out to be a bust as well. So I do think, in my opinion, that we do have, some good things coming, in my opinion, just because our latest update talks about, and you've probably already seen this, I know, but I'm just going to kind of read through this again. It says that after reviewing the logs, our third-party engineering group has recommended bringing in specialized completion liners for the next steps and for the indicated zones of potential production. We are also moving ahead with entry requirements for our additional completions and testing crew, and they've added additional tubing, yada, 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 and they're waiting on that to be shipped out. So as far as I can tell, I have not seen anything from the MJ1 saying that they have decided to bring in some specialized completion liners and extra tubing. Okay, why would you do that if you didn't have something to take out of the ground? I don't know, but I can tell you, in my opinion, why would you even waste time and money on buying those things if they didn't think that you needed those things to, to get oil? Because that's, in my opinion, just kind of basic logic. So, anyway, guys, I know it's a longer video, a lot longer than you're probably used to, but let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and let's see what they're telling us. All right, guys, looking at Zion Oil and Gas, ticker symbol ZNOG. All right, so we are currently trading under 15 cents again. We're at 14 and some change. Looks like we are still kind of surprisingly in on the MACD at least. It says that we're in a bullish pattern, which is very concerning because we're not moving up in a bullish pattern. We are moving down, okay? So if we cross back over from bullish to bearish, I think we're going to come down and first up test 12.5 cents. And then from there, I think we're going to hit that bottom again of 10.5 cents, which for some of us will be a good thing, because if we want to average down, or if you're thinking, man, I haven't gotten in yet and I want to, then I think that would be a decent spot to at least start your position, because if it starts moving back up towards that 20 cent mark, you think about it, you can easily double your money right there. So I would just kind of be really cautious at this point, though. If you're new, if you haven't put any money in, maybe just kind of nibble here and there and grab some shares and keep an eye on it until we get confirmation of of some testing results and things like that. Because especially if you're new, you're not probably familiar with how long it takes for us to get updates on the company, for one, and for two, again, we're on the OTC market, which things go up, things come down just as aggressive or quicker than they went up. Okay, so I do think that if they do release some type of good information about the testing results, that I think we're going to see maybe a 1 to 3 maybe 1 to 3 day very, very large run of this thing before we kind of come back down. So that's what I'm kind of prepared for. I could be completely wrong, okay, but I just have a feeling that we get some type of news, all of a sudden we're going to start moving and moving fast, okay, and then when it hits $1.25, you may see some type of pullback, but we'll kind of wait and see. Whenever that time does come, you better believe I'll be here making a technical analysis video for all of you to help you make a decision on what you want to do moving forward. If you want to cash out and then get back in, if you want to take a little bit off the table, but I'll provide all the appropriate support and resistance levels. There's some people talking that this thing may come all the way down to like 5 cents. That would be wild. I'm not sure if it will or not. Who knows? But just know that if you're in this thing now, these levels are providing a good way to average down. If you don't have too much money in it right now, you're not that far down, you may want to just kind of ride this thing out and see exactly how far it comes. I do think that it's going to fall down here and test that 10.5 cent mark, especially if they don't release any type of updates or news. I think that it can easily just kind of continue to slip down there. So anyway, guys, sorry for the lengthy video, but wanted to provide that update for you. Let me know your comments below. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.